Hey everyone, this is Kyne. Today's Halloween video is a makeup tutorial for this neon pinup zombie. I've done a few of these types of looks already in the past, but never in this kind of color scheme, and it's just a classic Halloween look for those of you who aren't into blood and horror. Let's get started. First, I had to throw on a wig cap and glue down my brows, and you can totally work with your natural brow shape for this type of look. I just prefer to have the freedom to do whatever brow shape I want, and the more you get used to doing this, the easier it gets. Then to start painting, I went in with a green face paint. This is water activated, so it's one of those that goes on very watery. As you can see, this shit was patchy and watery and wet as hell. What was that movie where Channing Tatum and Matt Bomer were playing male strippers? This was like me after watching that. So I had to go over things with cream products, using a white to highlight my brow bone, and just using a cream green to add more coverage to the rest of the face where the base was kind of patchy. The great thing about creams is you can blend them together and get a flawless finish because they don't dry up as fast as the wet face paints do. And when you're happy with that, just set it all with powder. Green eyeshadow is ideal, but a colorless translucent powder works just the same. Now I'm drawing the teeth, and I didn't make them as tall and narrow like when I did my ghost skeleton makeup, because here the teeth are actually attached to gum, so I kind of went for like what normal teeth look like when you just open your mouth, which is more of like a square shape. Then I outlined it all with black face paint. And when you need the black to be really black, it's good to use a water-based paint. They're best when they're used just for small detailing like this. A powder just can't be as sharp and precise, and a cream runs the risk of smudging. If you don't have a water-based black face paint, a liquid eyeliner works pretty much just the same, it's just harder to take off. I took a pink water paint now and I started creating gums above and below my sets of teeth, and with more green I drew a little overlapping line to cut this in two parts, kind of like the flesh of the cheek was being ripped open and the teeth underneath were being revealed. Later we'll do more shading to sell this illusion that the flesh is sitting above the teeth and it's more 3D. And by the way, I was so sick filming this, which is why I keep coughing. It's not because I was committed to my character, I was just actually on the verge of death. Anyway, you're going to want to outline that in black. Practically everything we're going to do here, we outline in black, just to make things more bold and accentuate the different colors. On the nose, I'm creating that classic, like, upside-down heart-shaped skeleton nose with more black face paint. And then with the same pink that I used for the gums, I started to create little blisters around the face in the shapes of stars and blobs. The idea is to add some complexity to the face, so you're not just purely green. Zombie makeup, if you look at it, it's always intricate and keeps the eye moving around to all the different components and colors and textures. In hindsight, it might have been more efficient to me to outline the mouth area and the blisters in the beginning, so I could have left these areas blank when filling the face with green, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I was kind of just adding ideas as they came along and adding things that I thought would look pretty. I took some cream face paint from Makeup Forever, only because I didn't have this color in a water-activated formula, but I made myself some eyebrows by mixing blue and pink to get a purple color, and I didn't bother doing the whole ombre effect like I normally do, because again, we want things to be bold and to be graphic, outlining this in black just as we've been doing this entire time. I created some like tears slash eye bags underneath the eyes with some blue. It's a little more exaggerated and dramatic than tears. Think of it as like the eyes melting down. And when I outlined it, I even drew some like subtle horizontal lines to emulate the appearance of wrinkles, as if the skin was like drooping down. We're going to take a break from the zombie makeup now and do our eye makeup. I'm using this palette from Ofra with a bunch of colorful eyeshadows, and I started by using a blue in the eye socket. I don't like to use browns if I paint my face something colorful, because brown would just look muddy here if we put it on. So use like a green or blue or anything that you want that's colorful, and create definition using black. On the inner mobile lid, I applied this green iridescent glitter with the NYX glitter primer. I got this at a magic store like ages ago. Glitter is just one of those things that lasts a long time, especially colors like this that I rarely use. It always gives me nostalgia to use a super old product. The thing is, most of my makeup now comes to me through the mail, so only a few things have sentimental value to me anymore, but this is one of those products and the color fits here perfectly. Now we're going to go back to the face and revisit the gums, the blisters, and the eye bags, and shade all the lines to make these areas recede more and look like they're underneath the layer of green skin. So I take my black eyeshadow on an angled brush and kind of flick on the lines so that the black line is the darkest, but there's a shadow of black feathering in onto the pink. And this made a huge difference. I wasn't too sure about the look at first, but after doing this step, it really brought everything to life, because that's just the power of dimension and shadow. For the star-shaped blisters, I actually found it more helpful to just use more black face paint around the whole thing until the pink only covered a small hole in the middle, and then I tapped black eyeshadow on the edge where the black and pink meet to make it softer. And you could also tap pink eyeshadow on top of that to diffuse that edge even more. Even on the gums, I use this technique because sometimes black eyeshadow just isn't black enough. So you can use black face paint to get the color intensity that you want and then just diffuse the edge with powder eyeshadow so it looks more faded. And I also use this time to take the black face paint and make the edges of the gums look more weird and squiggly because this is rotting flesh at the end of the day. It shouldn't have clean edges anyway, so it should look asymmetrical and rough. I also took this method to the nose, tapping on some pink paint in the middle and then blending it into the black. And now we're going to move on to the body. This time I kind of knew what I wanted to do. I wanted a big hole in the middle of the chest, so I outlined this first before doing the green base, which I applied everywhere else using that green face paint. You can guess by your bone structure where the bones will fit in here, so with some white I created my collarbones and throat and some ribs. I filled in the empty space with the pink flesh color and of course outlined everything in black again. Again, to make this all look more 3D, you want to shade the edges with black, be it eyeshadow or face paint or both, because this is a hole in our flesh and it needs to look like a different layer of our skin. Going around this with some more holes, again to make this look more rotten and more intricate all at the same time. To finish off this look, I added a bit of white eyeliner since that waterline was just blank up to this point, and I put in these purple Starburst contacts from Camoeyes and my lashes, and that's the finished look. I love how it turned out. The outfit really brings it together. The jacket I made myself. You can check out my fur coat tutorial to see how I sewed that up, and the wig I actually styled in an upcoming wig tutorial, so make sure you're subscribed and that you're notified when that video goes up. I hope you guys love this look as much as I do. I can't wait to see all your drawings and recreations and comments. But until next time, I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!